Have you always wanted to start your own business? Do you have an innovative idea or an invention, but just don't know how to turn it into a company? Are you already in business and need some help growing? The BRF's Entrepreneurial Accelerator Program can help. At EAP, we work alongside you, helping you with things like financial modeling, funding strategy, pitch preparation, and marketing strategy. So what are you waiting for? Go to eapla.com today and set up a time to talk with our team. Let EAP help you launch or grow your business in North Louisiana today.
Okay, we're back on the cusp. Got Matt Snyder here with me. And with us today is Jarrett Lofton, Legal Weapon.
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell us about you and your entrepreneurial journey.
Yes, sir. Well, first off, I just want to tell you guys, thank you for allowing me to be on your show today. So a little bit about Legal Weapon. So Legal Weapon was something that I started when I was in law school. I was in had just started my second year in law school. And so I was taking like this class called mediation and arbitration. I thought that was going to be the path that I was going to take. You get paid to help mediate people's like legal cases. And so I met an attorney while I was there, and I asked him could I have lunch with him because he was a person that was doing mediations in New Orleans. So he and I wound up going to lunch, and I could tell like he wasn't as organized, and he had some business processes that probably wasn't just in order. So I asked him, I said, I said his name, and I said, like I can show you probably how to get more clients and how to make more money. He said, oh yeah? And I just told him a few different things. He said, well, how much would you charge me for it? And so on the spot, I made up a price.
Oh, wow.
On the spot, I made up a price. And he said, okay. And it kind of started from there. And so I just was working with people that, he was the only one or two attorneys that I worked with, but mostly just startup entrepreneurs. So somebody that has a fresh venture, trying to figure out exactly how to separate wheat from chaff, so
I
to speak.
understand. So you started in New Orleans. What brought you to Shreveport?
Well, I'm born and raised in Shreveport, so Shreveport is home.
So graduated from law school, came home, and now you're continuing with Legal Weapon on that, and you and I have talked about it. Because that's really interesting. As an individual, the BRF and EAP, we're working with startups, and we're an accelerator, and we're trying to get people to make that leap and launch their business here. We struggle we're not attorneys, but where we struggle is when we get to that legal side of, should you be an LLC? Should you be a C Corp? Should you be an S Corp?
Yeah. And entrepreneurs, I'll make fun of myself, and everybody knows I don't know what I'm doing anyway, so it's not gonna surprise anybody. When I was starting my business, I couldn't find anybody to help, and I'm just guessing, I was I had some dream in my head that being a partnership would be better than being an LLC.
Right.
So I'm an LLP, that's me and my wife. It's never made any sense. It's made my taxes harder, all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
It's just a dumb way and then once you start, it's like a nightmare to go back. So I wish I would have had somebody like Jarrett to say, I've told the story probably on here, and I've definitely told it to you, Dave, about me opening my business and looking up, Googling, business support in Shreveport and driving to all the different, non-profit places that pop up and getting a little help at each, finding a little help, but not ever anything that would form the full puzzle.
Right.
And really, guessing in a lot of ways. And so I think what you're doing, man, is an awesome.
Yeah, so that's really good, because you and I have talked before. I think we need organizations and companies like yours when we can get somebody to believe enough in their idea, because that's the hard part, right? You got to believe in your idea, and then you got to take the leap.
You see in forming businesses too, when people are established and they're doing things, opening an LLC here, whatever, the $300 or $500, that's no big deal.
Right.
But when you're a startup, small, trying to make your dream reality,
right.
Every $300 is a big deal.
Every $300 counts.
I don't want to mess it up and have to do it again.
Right.
So
well, what I tell a lot of people is that decision, whether you're going to be an LLC, and I had this conversation with a young man yesterday, the decision whether you're going to be an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp is very important, because if you can do it when you start, and you need to be a C Corp, you need to start as a C Corp. Because if you wait and launch and you get 12, 18 months down the road, the price difference between doing it up front and doing it out here is significant.
Right. And honestly, I kind of always suggest if a person is just starting up and it's just you and you don't have any investors, the LLC, tax as a sole proprietor, is the easiest thing. Because at the end of the day, your taxes ain't gonna change much. It's gonna be the same way you were filing taxes originally. After you start making some money, you know, it's pros and cons to each one of those different entities, but specifically like the S Corp. If you're making like $120 or so thousand a year, that S Corp transition is smart, because you're gonna be able to reduce your taxes. You don't have to pay those self-employment taxes as much. You know, part of it is reduced. And that's the stuff that really us as entrepreneurs, we love doing what we do, but all of that technical stuff.
That's the worst part. That's the part, and that's the part that scares a lot of people out.
It scares them out of it up
your
front.
Dream.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that was the part. Like, I had my idea.
Right.
I believed in it wholeheartedly.
Right.
I had no idea how you really do all that.
Right.
I was like, I'm gonna do my dream. It's gonna go great, but I'm gonna be arrested.
Going to jail. I'm afraid to get locked up. I done filed
for not
taxes.
knowing how to do my damn job.
And we know, Matt, you're going to push it to the very limit, right? Okay, and you're going to be in every paper, okay? And you know what? And I say that affectionately, okay, because that's good, because nobody knows more about the system than Matt, because he's worked it.
I'm in it a lot
and then
of
that's where
different
you
ways.
come in,
Right.
you know, Jared. That's where you come in, and you have to do that.
I dump my stuff on Jared. He might go into another line of business. He's like, I'm going back to being an attorney.
Yeah. So in Shreveport, I mean, there are a lot of organizations that say they provide support to entrepreneurs, and some of them are very good. Who do you work with, okay, on this? Because I mean, you know, it's like running an accelerator. This is not something you can just throw out there on social media and people are just going to automatically click on it. Right. How do you go out and, you know, generate clients for you?
So I'll tell you about the first one, and I kind of lean to how it's kind of changed. So after my first one with the attorney, it was another older friend of mine that wanted to get like a nonprofit started. And so she had been talking about, I did some work for like while I was in law school. And so when I graduated, I was actually still in law school at the time. She said, hey, can you help me start my nonprofit? I said, yes, ma'am. And kind of started creating systems that would make it easy for me to figure out what I needed to do next, how she would go about paying me. She paid me over the course of like 3 months, just one time a month for doing just different work and stuff like that. And then from her, she brought me in other people. And so when I started doing the LLCs, I said, well, hey, I'll give a referral fee if you send me some folks. And so she just started sending me different folks.
So referrals are your best?
Referrals, definitely, yes, sir. That was definitely what helped build my traffic, because I was already kind of hanging on her credibility. So they didn't know me just yet. They knew they wanted to get an LLC, or they knew they wanted to get a S Corp or something like that. But she would say, hey, he's done my nonprofit. He fixed me up. I trust him. I like him.
Yeah.
You should use him.
Yeah.
Doing great work. I mean, when I was at Raising Cadence, Ty Graves would always say the best marketing is good operations. And that in that kind of business, that makes perfect sense. In our kind of business, I think you do good work for somebody and they sell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Over time,
I can tell you,
Dave calls and says, hey, I've got this guy I work with and he's energetic and you should talk to Matt. And that's how all my clients have happened over
the referral based,
same way.
You know, referral based business, whether you're an accelerator or whatever you're doing, is always number one.
Right.
Because they're already coming to you, okay, with some idea of
It
comfort.
also puts a really, as the entrepreneur, I think it puts a really good pressure on you. Because you know the work you're doing for this client. I mean, it's so bothered. When I'm struggling with a client, and we all have harder clients and easier clients and whatever, and ones that are asking you to do things that are outside your lane, whatever. It bothers me so much, not about that one client. There'll be more clients, all that.
Right.
It bothers me more about, I've got to do a great job because I want them to tell their friends what a great job I did for them.
It is part of your network.
Yeah.
And you know, what I tell people all the time is your next opportunity is totally dependent upon your current network.
That is true.
And if you are not networking, okay, and especially in entrepreneurs. And that's why we went back and restarted Million Cups, okay? And we're going to have you on a Million Cups, okay? Soon. I want you to talk about the legal challenges, okay? Because I think that's
that
something
group will love that.
That group will love it.
Yeah.
We started a Million Cups back because the network is so important, right? Especially for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs struggle with, they are not the first person or the first organization to face that challenge. I'll guarantee you.
Yeah.
Now, it might feel that you're alone, okay, but the truth is you're not. There is somebody that's done it successfully.
Right.
And
that's a good thing about both of our businesses is you're looking at so many businesses, you kind of see trends.
Right.
And you see trends in different times, and
Right.
you'll see, like, that's probably one of the most powerful things I have is
Right.
the ability to walk into a client and say, oh, your sales are off a little, or well, I'm seeing this
Right.
across the board, or hey, that's
It doesn't
different.
shock you, and they
Yeah.
can sense that you're
Yeah.
not afraid.
Yeah,
Like, I can help
hey,
you with
we
that.
better turn
Right.
this screwdriver because everybody else is up and you're down 10%.
Yeah.
Hey, this isn't the economy, brother.
Yeah, right.
Like-
Absolutely. I see a lot of food-related opportunities come into EAP. We're not the best fit for food. You know, you want to start a restaurant in Shreveport, I'm all for it, okay? Because it generates jobs, always jobs, okay? But to me, a better fit, if you're coming in, you need to be in the Southern Kitchen Incubator.
Maybe I need to start RAP,
What is it?
Restaurant Accelerator Program.
Maybe there is something there. Team with
Restaurant
Kick,
Accelerator
you know,
Program.
team with Kick. Do you see a lot of people coming to you to start food service related businesses?
I had two that wanted to get it started, but not so much. Not so
Okay.
much, to be honest.
Yeah, because most people in the food business, you know, they already have an idea, they have a menu, they know what
It's
they're.
that business is so interesting to me because the level of different levels, the gap is so huge. I mean, you got
Yep.
guys that are definitely out there operating without anything set up at all.
Right.
To, you know,
Just cook it almost from the house.
Well,
they really
yeah. You know, and somebody that's never done it, I mean, if they're a trade startup, never been in the restaurant
right,
business,
right.
I always tell them, well, you need to go make a friend that's in the food service business.
It's a hard
Okay.
business.
It is a tough business.
my clients and I came from the food business, so I like it and I feel like I'm good at it. But I mean, those are some of my hardest clients because it's always changing. It's so day to day. There's so many factors that you don't control. I mean, it's just a hard business.
Jarrett, do you ever advise clients on social media marketing? Do they come to you for help with that?
So a little bit. I do have a client. So it's a product that I use, and a lot of folks use that you can literally make your marketing like the entire year if you wanted to. I mean, I don't know how many people do that. Matt might be a person that does it for the whole year. But
I wish. You know, I'm not that organized.
But as far as showing them how to brand themselves, like developing your logo and helping them build their brand in that particular regard, making flyers, like making shirts with your logos and different things on it. So from a branding standpoint, I do, but not specifically with social media marketing. But I have helped in that particular regard. But to kind of go back on a question that you asked, I wanted to kind of mention this about how I get more clients now. I really give the what away for free. So I had a client just recent the other day. The trucking industry is really one that I'm really tapping into because of the fact that that particular target audience, after they get their CDLs, they kind of ready to make money. You know what I mean? So they got funds to pay for different things, and they have a need to try to get their own authority, to try to get the LLC because they're gonna be operating as independent contractors. And so I was on a radio talk show like a couple weeks ago, and was talking about just different things and in regards to how truckers and just different folks can start their entrepreneurship. And the guy wound up calling me. And so we had a consultation where I taught him about like how to build his business credit. And so from there, I called him back the other week because I also sell like lifestyle protection plans to my clients. And just literally having a conversation, I had already built some credibility with him just giving away the what. So he said, well, hey, I'll buy this from you, I'll buy that from you, I'll buy this from you, I'll buy that from you. So being not afraid to give away the what because people would pay for the how is what I always recommend to folks.
Yeah.
The how is, you know what I mean?
And sometimes, like, I do that too. Like, I'll take meetings and maybe too many sometimes, and you'll have every once in a while somebody that takes advantage of that. And by the time you get to the point of where it's time to bill them, they're like, I'm gonna hold on.
Yeah.
But I've never once regretted that. If the bad examples of that are the good way outweighs
That's true.
the times you get
Because they will come back to you.
And the people that smoke you on something like that, in my experience, are not who I want to be working with.
That is true.
Anyway. I mean, that's a good sign of like, hey, this is not a good fit.
Right. Right. They're always looking for something, and they're not willing to pay at some point. And that time does come, because I tell a lot of people that come to EAP, I'm not excited about giving much away free.
Yeah.
I realize there's a certain point where you got to give something free. There's a lot of give and take on that, but you got to be able to make money.
Yes, sir.
Right. And when that point comes, you need to know where that is. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's super, super important. So you've done this, you're doing this here in Shreveport, your home. If you had to say, pick one or two things where we as a community need to do better, what would you recommend we do better?
I would say that just because I was born and raised in Shreveport, so I never lived in any place besides New Orleans when I was in law school. And so going there, one thing that I really appreciated is the fact that it's city pride. Like people actually taking interest in everything.
Oh, New Orleans
like it's almost like it's a brotherhood.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If you from New Orleans was born in the Garden of Eden, if you ask the people from New Orleans, you know what I mean?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
It really feels like that.
Yeah, Matt and I struggle with that and that's one of the things that took us down this path of On the Cusp.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
It's not uncommon, you ask somebody that's from here, I don't care whether it's Shreveport or Bossier, and you get the 5 things that that are wrong with the place.
Yeah.
Okay, fine and great. I get it. I've heard that for 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing's changed. So, I think we got to focus more on the positive and the good things when we talk.
You'd be hard pressed to find a good old New Orleans person that would have somebody looking to move there that was like, oh, let me tell you all the bad things.
right.
Here, you find that all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be honest, like being from Shreveport, I really didn't feel like that growing up. I don't feel like that now, but I never was the person that, I don't like Shreveport. Shreveport is this, Shreveport is that. I really moved to New Orleans because I had to go to law school. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. But I think that we need to find a way to have like more community and getting involved in things. If I'm connected with Snyder and Snyder's connected with Mr. Dave and this person connected with that, and we have almost like a coalition.
That's a great point.
When you start doing that, because now I'm invested in what Snyder has going on. I want to come out. My audience is gonna come. Snyder's audience, it's going to be more of a.
The pockets. Shreveport is bad about get in your pocket, stay in your pocket, fight for your pocket.
Yeah.
That's right.
The crossover, and I always blame it. I think a little of that is not our fault. I think a little of that is the size. I think our size is very unique. I think the size of Shreveport being big enough that it's not a small town, that it is a city, but small enough that it still has a lot of small town.
It does. It does. I tell people all the time, especially, for Ryan Culp recruiting people into Shreveport, the unique aspect of Shreveport is it is the largest small town you'll ever be in.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I'll guarantee you, all right, that we are connected in 5 different places.
Yeah.
If you doubled the population of Shreveport, and let's just say we had a big, massive wins, like Dave's always talking about, and you doubled the population of Shreveport in the next 10 years, I would argue that the mentality of Shreveport would be greatly different
I believe
at 400,000 people as it is at 180 or whatever we are at.
Yeah, well, I think if you, and this is pure speculation, I think if you took Shreveport Bossier and you expanded our region out beyond the city limits to include, Houghton, Minden, Longview, Texarkana, and you made it 400,000. I'll bet you the perception of our region is different than if you just look at it from that little bitty perspective of Shreveport.
Right. Yeah, and I think the perception, when we talk about perception, people think about outsiders' perception of us. The perception I think you're talking about, and that's more important to me and to us, I'll say, is the perception of ourselves.
I think
the
that
perception from the people that are in the city. And it's bad. And I'll say, like Bossier City has benefited a lot from Barksdale Air Force Base. Can we say that?
You can say that.
Is that true?
The whole region has benefited from
my
Barksdale.
understanding is that a bunch of Shreveport business guys helped get Barksdale Air Force Base to Bossier. Is that basically
that's
accurate?
true. That's true.
I think now you look at however many years later, the Bossier guys are just as pocketed up as the Shreveport guys. The Shreveport guys are in 8 different silos. The North DeSoto Stonewall crowd is in their bucket. We got to get, like Jarrett's saying, the race separation in so many ways, the age separation in so many ways. We got to link those silos.
I agree.
Somebody needs to draw them out and start building bridges to each one.
I think you're absolutely right. And we see that a lot in economic development, okay? Where if it's not in my geographic area, I don't want it.
Who cares? If it's a win, let's win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys like Jarrett, every time you win, Dave, a guy like Jarrett and a guy like Matt get a new client.
Absolutely. That has to be our approach.
You bring 30 businesses in, there's a good chance me or Jarrett are going to get a client.
You're going to get a client or two out of that. Absolutely.
And I think this too, kind of going back on what both of you guys were saying, like a lot of people don't have like when you know about something's history, you have more pride in whatever that thing is. I think that a lot of people, we know about other cities' history. Us as Shreveport, we got to learn about why we actually are an important city. Why are we the port? Why is all this kind of stuff important from our historical standpoint?
Wow, you are going deep right there.
That's an interesting book. How many Shreveporters could tell you more about the history of New Orleans than they can tell you about the history of Shreveport?
Now that is.
Or Dallas or some other
city. Or Dallas,
Because everybody south of I-10 thinks Shreveport's just part of Texas, right? And I know you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. We're gonna wrap this back, okay? We're gonna bring this back. Okay, it's okay to be a Dallas Cowboy fan.
It's not really, but Jarrett's a good guy.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, we're at time. Jarrett, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Glad to be here. Thank y'all.
Dude, thank you, man. That's awesome.